The morning was pristine, the kind where Willow Lake shimmered like a mirror under a cloudless sky, its surface broken only by the soft ripple of a breeze. I sat on my weathered folding chair, cradling a styrofoam cup of gas station coffee that tasted like heaven in the open air. My fishing rod leaned against the dock, line dangling lazily in the water. For a decade, this lake tucked behind my cabin had been my refuge, my ritual, my slice of peace. No one batted an eye when I cast my line. No one cared. That is, until a golf cart roared up the gravel path, carrying 3 HOA board members like some suburban hit squad, ready to wage war on my fishing rod. Margaret Hensley led the charge, a woman with a bleach blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and a clipboard she wielded like a gavel. Flanking her were Roger, a man whose socks and sandals combo screamed defeat, and Susan, the neighborhood self-appointed noise police, once infamous for reporting a kid's squeaky swing set. Margaret pointed at me, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Mr. Harper, you're in violation of HOA Code 7B.5, unauthorized recreational angling." I nearly choked on my coffee, laughter bubbling up before I could stop it. "You're kidding, right?" Her glare said otherwise. This wasn't just petty neighbor nonsense. These people were drunk on their own tiny fiefdom, and they had no idea who they were picking a fight with. It was a Sunday, the air crisp, the lake still. My setup was humble, a tackle box passed down from my dad, a thermos, and a chair with more duct tape than fabric. I was mid-cast when their cart's whine shattered the quiet. Margaret dismounted like a general, her minions in tow, and flipped open her clipboard. "Do you have an HOA fishing tag?" I blinked, pole still in hand. "A what?" "I've fished here for 10 years. This is my dock." She smirked, smug as a cat. "This isn't your dock. The lake is community property, and the board passed a resolution requiring permits to protect wildlife." I raised an eyebrow. "Wildlife?" "Margaret, the only things in this lake are frogs, a few ducks, and a catfish too lazy to swim straight." She ignored me, slapping a yellow citation against my chest. $600 fine. Further violations mean legal action. I laughed a deep, incredulous guffaw. "This is insane. It's a lake, not your gated pool. Who owns it?" Her lips curled. "The HOA manages this land, so it's under our rules." That night, an orange warning appeared taped to my door, threatening escalating fines and a ban from community amenities. I crumpled it, tossing it in the trash, not angry yet, but curious. Dangerously curious. By dawn, new signs lined the shoreline. Saw fishing prohibited, violators fined saw. One was nailed right beside my dock, another by the tree where I tied my canoe. I took a slow breath, walked inside, and dialed my lawyer, Tom, a college buddy who thrived on unraveling messes like this. "Find out who really owns this lake," I said. He chuckled. "Planning a lawsuit?" "Not quite," I replied, a grin creeping across my face. "I'm thinking checkmate." By Tuesday, Tom had answers that changed everything. The lake wasn't HOA property. 30 years ago, it was leased to the neighborhood's developer, but the purchase option was never exercised. The holding company that owned the deed had gone dormant, leaving the land in limbo. "They think they control it," Tom said, "but no one bought it. It's up for grabs." My pulse quickened. "What's it take to buy it?" "Track down the company's successor and make an offer," he said. "It's doable. No one else knows it's available." Excitement surged through me. Fishing was my piece, but this was about principle. The HOA thought they could bully me with fines and clipboards, but they didn't count on a guy with cash, patience, and a lawyer who loved a challenge. I kept my cards close as Tom worked, playing dumb when Margaret cruised by in her cart, her smirk screaming VY Tory. Meanwhile, I signed a property acquisition proposal. Tom called it a surgical strike. I called it justice. A week later, standing on my dock, rod in hand, I stared at the HOA's saw fishing prohibited saw sign and smiled. They wanted to play turf war? Fine. In 2 weeks, I wouldn't just fish this lake, I'd own it, and their flimsy rules would sink like a bad lure. The thrill of flipping their game was better than any catch. Tom tracked the holding company to an elderly couple in Texas who'd inherited the land and thought it worthless. I stayed low, even attending an HOA meeting, sipping watery punch as Margaret droned on about new lake rules, kayak stickers, timed shoreline access, even a dress code for swimming. I nearly choked on my drink. Not one word about ownership. They assumed the HOA controlled it, too arrogant to check. The couple accepted my offer, a modest sum for wetlands they'd forgotten. When I held the deed, stamped and recorded, it felt like reclaiming my dock tenfold. I owned Willow Lake, shore to shore, including the 10-foot buffer where the HOA's signs and kayak rack stood. They were now trespassing on my saw land. I didn't announce it. That would have been too easy. Instead, I ordered 12 custom wooden signs, bold and rustic, saw private property, no trespassing, HOA residents excluded, violators prosecuted, saw. Stained oak. They were both charming and menacing. I hired an out-of-town crew to install them at dawn, one beside every HOA sign. By 8 a.m., the neighborhood chat erupted: photos, panic, demands for answers. I sat on my porch, coffee in hand, watching the chaos unfold like a morning soap opera. At 9, Margaret's golf cart screeched to a halt by the lake, her voice carrying like a foghorn. "Who authorized this? He can't own it!" I strolled down, deed in hand, and met her glare. "Margaret, this lake is mine. Purchased legally. The HOA never owned it. You've been squatting on my land." Her mouth snapped shut, then opened again. "That's impossible. We've used it for years." "Using and owning aren't the same," I said coolly. "You assumed, and you were wrong." Her face burned crimson. "We'll seize it public interest." I laughed. "Eminent domain doesn't work like that. The city won't steal my lake because your ego's bruised." She sputtered. "You'll have the community up in arms." "Good," I grinned. "That's the fun part." By noon, residents gathered, some furious, others stunned. I explained calmly. The HOA lied, the lake was never theirs, and I bought it fair and square. After their harassment, I was restricting access. Tit for tat, just like their rules. Margaret called an emergency board meeting, pushing lawsuits and resolutions to reclaim the lake. They fizzled. Tom's cease and desist letter, complete with deed copies, silenced them. Roger, Margaret's lackey, tested me, fishing defiantly by the lake. I called the sheriff, who issued a trespassing warning, my deed in hand. The community split, some called me a hero, others a tyrant. Margaret launched a Save Our Lake campaign, flyers, a newsletter, a Facebook group railing against my land grab. It backfired. Residents saw her lies, her fines, her ego. Then came sabotage. My canoe's ropes were cut. Rotten eggs smeared my porch. Sugar clogged my boat's gas tank, nearly ruining the engine. I installed cameras, catching Roger at midnight with bolt cutters, slashing my dock line. The alarm sent him scrambling, and the sheriff cited him for vandalism. I mailed screenshots to every neighbor, captioned, "Saw private property. Respect it or regret it, Saw." The images went viral on the town's app, sparking debates over the HOA's overreach. Margaret's desperation peaked with a Lake Rights March, her loyalists waving signs like "Saw water for all Saw." Deputies met them at my gate, citing my trespass policy. A photo of Margaret's defeat became a meme, her campaign crumbling. At the next HOA meeting, she demanded a lawsuit, but the board, fractured and embarrassed, refused. An elderly resident, Mr. Caldwell, stood. "You said the lake was ours, Margaret. You lied, and now we're paying for it. Step down." Silence fell. Margaret resigned, effective immediately. That evening, board member Clara dropped off a pie, grinning. "Congratulations. She's gone." But I wasn't done. Owning the lake was sweet, but I wanted permanence. I launched Willow Lake Club, a members-only retreat. I built a lodge, 2 rooms, a rental booth, a patio with rocking chairs overlooking the water. An electronic gate and fence secured the shore. Signs updated. Saw Willow Lake members only, HOA residents excluded saw. The website drew applications from families, veterans, anglers, bloggers. I kept fees fair, with discounts for seniors and free passes for first responders. Within a month, we had 60 members and a wait list. The lake buzzed with kayaks, laughter, music, a haven for those who respected it, everyone but the HOA. Margaret confronted me at the gate, sun hat and water bottle in hand. "This is discrimination," she shrieked. "You can't ban us." I pointed to the sign. "Private club, like your HOA pool. You fined me for fishing on my land. Now you're locked out." She vowed lawsuits, but her threats were hollow. The new HOA president, Daniel, apologized, suggesting a yearly neighborhood day. I nodded. "We'll see." The community warmed. Neighbors waved. Some applied for memberships. At the town showcase, my club's booth drew crowds, raffling passes, signing members. Margaret appeared, disguised in a floppy hat, but no one mentioned the lake. She approached my table, feigning warmth. "Heard your club's doing well. Better than expected," I said. "Waitlist is full." Her smile faltered. "Must be exhausting, all this control." "It's easy when the rules make sense," I replied. She scribbled on a raffle card and left. It read, "Saw you win saw." I tossed it. The lake was proof enough. That night, I cast a line from my dock, the sunset painting the water gold. Kids biked by shouting, "You own the whole lake?" "Every inch," I laughed. Willow Lake wasn't just a business, it was a stand. Margaret's reign was over, her signs rusted in ditches. My granddad's words echoed, "Saw, hold your ground, and the water's yours, Saw." I had, and it was